See, no one has balls. No one has the balls to say the real deal.
Black word today.
Yes, y'all is the one and only. Get up.
You are born.
Hello, everybody.
Black word today.
Let's sprinkle some crack on them and get out of here.
What up, people? Hey, everybody, how you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to Black Word Today. I'm your host, of course. That's why I'm sitting in the chair, because I'm your host. And I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Please share this across your social media. Let people know there's a new show in town. And I'm trying to get the word out. Let people know what's happening. How y'all feeling, man? How are y'all feeling? Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. My people, my people, my people, my people. You know what? We got to be careful because...
Look, man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
We don't want to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. And so many of us are falling for the banana in the tailpipe. May the church say amen. We got a lot of stories. We got a lot to get to today, so let's get to it. Got time to, you guys don't got time to waste. You're like, come on, Tim, get to it. All right, so I got 4 stories that I want to hit on first. We got the L.A. County Sheriff's deputy who was dealing drugs, who's corrupt as hell, in charge of your freedom over there in L.A. County. We got that. We also have a scumbag, degenerate gym doctor who assaulted, 140 women and children, little girls. We got him. We got Kevin Spacey being accused of not only being very aggressive sexually with a young boy back in the day, but also of being a racist. Yeah. And also Hawaii. Hawaii was the victim of false alarms over the weekend, and we want to talk about that. But first, guys, let's talk about this, because this is where I think I need to start. See, no one has balls. No one has the balls to say the real deal. All right. And what are they not saying about the real deal? What is not being said, Tim Black? This graph right here is not being said, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's not being said. You know, whenever Martin Luther King Jr. Day rolls around, and believe me, I've been doing this 5 years. 5 years I've been doing online content on my own platform, not on anyone else's platform, my own thing, build it up, and been basically the driver of my own car. I'm always thrust into this situation where, Martin Luther King Day rolls around and people are, talking about kumbaya and this and that. They're talking about all these things we need to do as a community, as a world, as a country. And when I look at something like this didn't come out yesterday. This came out in September. And this is published from data from the Census Bureau, as you can see. The overall record, but uneven growth in incomes. The overall median household income hit a high at $59,039 in 2016, but incomes in black households still lag behind where they were in 2000. As you can see here, Asians are killing it. Okay, but I guess if you're only, 5% of the population, you can leave your worst and the people with least education, the people with least earning possibility where they are. So that's kind of why. People always say, people love saying to Black, why are the Asians doing so well? Well, if it's not that many of them, you can tend to get rid of the people, can get slanted. But okay, I'm not taking anything away from that. I'm just keeping it real. All right? White folks are right behind Asians at 64,000. This is the median of all, right? So it's heavily propped up. In fact, all of us, the United States is using Asians to make the rest of us look okay, which is a horrible thing in itself. You can look at the graph here. Hispanics at 47,000 and black folks at 39,490. Okay, so when I look at that graph, when I look at the numbers, right, and we look at the average worth of a black household being a negative 1,800, I think it was something crazy like that. I have a bitter taste in my mouth when it comes to we need to all work together on these other issues. People seem like they don't realize that black people are in such dire straits. Now, I don't know if that's a lack of just, people just not giving a damn, or does it just happen to be because we're so busy looking at Oprah? We're so busy looking at the opulence of Oprah, the opulence of P. Diddy, the opulence of Snoop, people on Instagram getting it in, record producers, you name it. And we leave out the fact that majority of black people are struggling in their communities and they're lagging behind. So when MLK Day rolls around, this time I was pretty quiet because I was just disgusted, man. I was disgusted because even though I have a diverse audience, I just felt like I'd be talking to myself. I just feel like I'd be talking to myself when I bring these issues up. And inevitably there'd be people who say you're being divisive to even bring up the plight of black people. The reality. And then there's some black people themselves who don't want to hear about it. Why you want to be negative, Tim Black? Why are you focusing on the bad? Focus on the two of us that's doing well. What am I supposed to do? Talk about Hollywood, how we got a few actors, the exceptions to the rule of most black people are broke rule, It's just that people use Dr. King and they're using it to say, hey, we need to help these other groups. But black Americans have never been helped in this country significantly to mitigate this. And until they do, until the United States decides to do that, then we're going to be in this situation. I think that we have to use all our political capital to move politics in the direction we needed to go in order to change this damn graphic. There have been others who've talked about this over the holiday weekend. I just direct you to those people. I'm totally frustrated by what I see. And I'm on the left, I guess, I consider myself a leftist. I don't believe that capitalism is the end-all, be-all. I believe if you got a dog-eat-dog world where it just so happens black people tend to be the bone, and nobody wants to have that conversation. So, to all the people out there who view Black Word today, I'll be better tomorrow. It's just that reality is what it is. And unless I can get people politically engaged, I don't see it changing. Now, I see a few of us escaping, jumping in our tugboats and going to shore. But there's always that weight, isn't it? The weight of knowing that we left so many people behind. Because there aren't enough tugboats. And the people that aren't going to be in those tugboats, some of your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your parents, and the way things are going, maybe even your children. So it's not enough to just say we just need to take care of ours, let's get our own. We have to look out for the entire black community, and I just think that if they don't have if no one can say, because it's black identity politics, that's what it's called, identity politics now. For me to say, hey, these people who have been historically on the bottom in this country, we need to find a remedy, a solution to that. They say that's that's identity politics. But if you walked into any other situation, and I covered a story earlier today about a 17-year-old girl in California who escaped a very torturous environment at home. She climbed out a window. She called the police. The police came, and they find 12 people inside who are chained to beds, emaciated, starving to death, literally starving to death. They couldn't even feed them abruptly because they would get sick because they're not used to food. Now, you're that officer, you come in there, you see these people starving to death. Do you then go across the street to a well-fed family and go, well, let's take care of this because we got to take care of everything, everybody. We wouldn't want to accidentally show preference to the starving people. But see, that would be considered fair to a lot of people. It makes no sense in that analogy, but when I say we need to deal with the black community that has historically been on the bottom, lowest graduation rate, lowest income level, shortest life expectancy, access to healthcare resources, all these things. There are people who would say that's identity politics. I wish they would just say they just don't give a shit, because then I wouldn't even have to have the argument. Wouldn't have to pretend that we're having an intellectual conversation. Because that's really what you want to say. So just say it. Just have the balls to say, I don't give a shit. I just care about myself. And that's fine. And I can summarily go ahead and go about my business of educating black people who want to get your politician the hell out of office. Because that's where they need to go. Because if you can't look at this problem, if you can't look at this graph and say, you know what, that sucks for people who have been in this country for 4, 5, 6 generations who were used as the hammer to build this country and then thrown aside. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But folks, my job is not to convince other people that we're in a bad situation. No, it's not. My job is to convince you're in a bad situation, that I am in a bad situation, and that we got to come together and we got to fix it. We got to do something. When I say fix it, we got to use our political muscle. What little bit of it we have left. I don't want you to think we got all this muscle because we keep giving it away. Now people saying Trump got us. Trump going to save us. We got to move Congress. We got to move the Senate. And we got to hold on to our vote like you hold on to a lottery ticket. And don't give that shit up unless you know, unless you have a strong indication that's actually going to go towards fixing that graph. Give it up for that. Whew. Hard time, man. You see, I've been having a lot of stuff on my mind, y'all. Y'all understand what I'm talking about. You get it, right? To be a woke black male is to be perpetually pissed off. It's to be perpetually frustrated. But you got to push through the frustration and say, what am I trying to accomplish? How can I accomplish it? Who do I need to align with? What can we do? And then work towards that. Or if not, you just say, screw it all and go take care of self. And I'm telling you, taking care of self, that's a hollow endeavor. Hollow endeavor, man. All right, I'm going to get off that now. Let's move on. All right? Everybody. All right, so not that the story is going to get much nicer because, look, it's a lot of drama. It's a lot going on that is not positive. All right? But, how many people know this young lady? It's Simone Biles. All right? All those medals around her neck, all that she's accomplished in the gymnastics arena, in the Olympics, couldn't save her from a pedophile. That's right. Nearly 90 women who allege they were sexually assaulted by a former USA gymnastics doctor plan to speak about the abuse during a 4-day sentencing hearing that started today. Larry Nassar is accused of sexually abusing more than 140 women and children as the doctor for Team USA and Michigan State University. He pled guilty in Ingham County, Michigan, to 7 first-degree sexual assault charges before ordering a sentence. The judge in the case is allowing all of his accusers to have a chance to speak on the mic. That's right. Now, the first accuser who spoke was not a patient of the deceased, but a family friend, and she gave an emotional speech that left several people in the courtroom crying. Kyle Stevens recounted the trauma of her first time. She said she was molested at Nassar's house and the deep family rift it caused because she told her parents, but her parents did not believe her. Yeah. All right. So now Simone Biles, the young lady here, she came forward saying that she was also a victim of Larry Nassar. You know her, the Olympic gold medalist. She added herself to the long list of Nassar's victims. And in a letter posted to Twitter, she wrote this: I, too, am one of many survivors that were sexually abused by Larry Nassar. Please believe me when I say it was a lot harder to first speak those words out loud than it is now to put them on paper. There are many reasons that I have been reluctant to share my story, but I know now that it is not my fault. For too long, I've asked myself, was I naive? Was it my fault? I now know that the answer to those questions, no. No, it was not my fault. No, I will not and should not carry the guilt that belongs to Larry Nassar. So Larry Nassar, he had this special technique he would use where he would violate these young women and children, saying it was a special treatment. And he would insert his hands inside of them. This I don't even know. I don't even know a word to use for Larry Nassar. I'll just say this abomination. He spoke. He says, I think that it's important what I've done today to help move the community forward and away from the hurting. Let the healing start. That's what he said. He said the person who has assaulted 140 women and children, girls, says, for all those involved, I'm so horribly sorry that this was like a match that turned into a forest fire out of control. You know, I'm not suggesting that anybody should take the law into their own hands. Not at all. If I did suggest that, I'd say start with Zimmerman. But I'm not suggesting it because it's illegal to suggest you take the law into your own hands. Larry Nassar, he shouldn't be with us. And if he gets the 125 years that he has coming, he won't be with us. But it's not about Larry Nassar totally, is it? Because it can't be. It's got to be about how is this guy able to operate like this, unmitigated for several years, violating child after child after child after child. Anybody who gets away with 125 scenarios is either very lucky or very well insulated. And all I'm saying is, when you talk to me about the Me Too movement, and you talk about sexual harassment, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a guy like this. I'm thinking Harvey Weinstein, of course. This guy's horrible. But I'm also thinking this. And what I'm not thinking is a guy like Aziz Ansari taking somebody on a date and it not ending the way they wanted to end, or he not falling in love, and now we're going to go write an article because he won a Golden Globe. You get where I'm coming from? Larry Nassar and people like him who we got to go after. Don't dilute a great thing, a great movement, by now being diverted for publicity or notoriety or for websites that want clicks or what have you, and divert attention away from real issues like this. Because this is what it's really about stopping. I'm going to leave that there. And if we start there, we'll all team up. We'll form Voltron and go get that. That's what I believe, okay? That's what I believe. Woo! Okay, so an L.A. County Sheriff deputy charged with selling drugs, offering protection of other cops to dealers. A Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy has been charged with operating a large-scale drug ring operation in which he boasted that he hired other law enforcement officers to provide security to drug dealers and could assault people for his clients, according to court records. Kenneth Collins, a deputy assigned to the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, and 2 other men were arrested by FBI agents Tuesday morning in a sting operation when they arrived to what they thought was a drug deal. Court documents outline the case, how the show Collins has been under investigation for months. He was recorded by agents discussing his extensive drug trafficking network, past criminal conduct, and willingness to accept bribes to use his law enforcement status for criminal purposes. So it goes on to say U.S. Attorney Nicola T. Hanna said in a statement that Deputy Collins sold his badge to assist an individual he thought was a drug trafficker. The deputy allegedly used his status as a law enforcement officer as a guarantee when he promised safe travels for large quantities of illegal narcotics. Yeah, that's what's going down. He claimed that he could provide teams of security made up of law enforcement officials who traveled with guns, and boasted that he and 2 comrades had set ablaze an $85,000 Cadillac truck to help a client. Do you get what I'm saying, folks? While they're locking up your sons, your daughters, even you, for a little bit of weed, we got LA County Sheriff's deputies not only peddling drugs, but defending drug dealers, transporting drugs, intimidating witnesses, burning evidence, and bragging about it. They're actually bodyguards to drug dealers. They actually facilitate the sale of drugs. They're getting you coming and going. Get what I'm saying? On a separate occasion, Collins sold about 2 pounds of marijuana to an agent for $6,000 as a test run to demonstrate his ability to arrange and carry out deals. Federal authorities allege after the deal, Collins told the agent he had connections to marijuana operations in Northern California and could sell the agent $4 million of marijuana each month. Goodness gracious, man.
Called super predators.
Super predator. Super predator. Now, if you think that do you think that police corruption is contained only in LA County, at the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, you'd be wrong. It's like all over this country. It's in Baltimore, it's in Philly, it's in LA County, it's a lot of places. And I just want to show the hypocrisy of the system. Now, I wonder what Jeff Beauregard Sessions has to say now. You know, that law and order thing. What about that? What about this? What about this? You want to seize assets from hardworking people. You know, more asset seizures have been done than home invasions and robberies combined. The government's taken from us. And meanwhile, it's government agents like police, right? State soldiers like this guy who are doing most of the dirt. I'm not saying all law enforcement are like this. I'm not saying that at all. Can't everybody get it in like this guy, like Collins? He's exceptional. But what I'm saying is that it is happening. And to act as if, oh, it's just some 16-year-old black kid in a hoodie that's causing all of this drama would be a freaking lie. Because it ain't. I'm going to keep you guys up to date with what happens with this story. As it unfolds, I'm sure there'll be more to it. All right, so this is where I let you know this show isn't brought to you by the GOP, the DNC, or any other entity, organization like that. It's only brought to you by viewers like yourself who happen to want to know what's going on with the country and from this perspective, a vantage point of black folks. That's what Black Word Today is. It's not just my word, it's the black word, okay? And I think it's important because it's important. I feel strongly that I need to encourage black folks, my community, people I grew up with, man. And some of you out there watching are people who know me in the real world to wake up to what's going on in politics and to wake up what's going on around you, and so that we can collectively use what power we do have in order to push it in the right direction. Because if we don't, we would just have to give up. And I ain't a giving up type of person. And I don't think you are either. So go to TimberlakeTV.com, become a monthly member, subscriber, and I'm sure you'll find some quality. You'll get your money's worth, and you'll find value in it. So I hope to see you there. Give it up for that. All right, so over the weekend, I got a notification on Twitter that Hawaii had a ballistic missile coming for the island. And I'm like, what the hell is this? A ballistic missile coming for the island. Do you realize that someone hit the wrong button? Like sent a message. It was supposed to be a routine exercise. Hit the wrong message to be sent to all the cell phones, and they didn't catch it for at least 39 minutes in order to let people know that was a false alarm. We got people in Hawaii. I hate to think what was going through the minds of these folks. I mean, you think there's a ballistic missile coming to your island, and we know about all of the tensions between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un, right? And you got people thinking this may be it. I can't imagine what these people were thinking. Now, the person who sent the wrong message and then confirmed it, because you gotta hit the button once. You want to send this message, and then you hit it again, and then it goes. And then it took 40 minutes for them to go, hey, maybe there is no missile coming. Like, that's crazy. Well, what's even more crazy than that is that days after Hawaii's false missile alarm, a new one in Japan. A new one. Another false alarm, this time in Japan. Listen. Japan's public broadcaster on Tuesday accidentally sent news alerts that North Korea had launched a missile and that citizens should take shelter. This happens just days after the government of Hawaii had sent a similar warning to its citizens. The broadcaster, NHK, corrected itself 5 minutes later and apologized for the error on its evening news. The initial text cited J Alert, a system used by the government to issue warnings to its citizens about missiles, tsunamis, and other natural disasters. But NHK later said that the system was not to blame for the false alarm. Makoto Suzaka, a spokesman for NHK, apologized, saying that the staff had mistakenly operated the equipment to deliver news alerts over the internet. The broadcaster's swift correction of its error stands in contrast to the 38-minute, they say 38-minute, another document said 39, delay by officials in Hawaii on Saturday to cancel warnings of an incoming ballistic missile. It took further 5 hours for Hawaii's governor, David Ige, to apologize for the mistake. Goodness gracious, I didn't know it took 5 hours to apologize. What would people do given 5 hours? I don't know. Because maybe you're not looking at your phone anymore. You get that message and you just freak out. And you run in and get water. You run in to, I don't think you're going to rob a bank. You think you may have only 40 minutes. I don't know how long it takes for the bomb to get to Hawaii. But what were people doing in the interim between your 5 hours, David Ige? Man, I shudder to think what people could do. You know, I shudder to think. Just let your imagination kind of run wild on what people might do in that type of situation. It's not a movie. It's not a movie. You think this is it. Anyway, the blunder was blamed on a veteran employee of the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency. Yes, we know that. We know. So I can hear the minds working over there. People just like, okay, Tim, maybe this is all connected. Maybe they're trying to scare us into I don't know what. Look, I don't know. I have no idea. Look, look, you can think what you want to think. So can I, right? All I'm saying, this is what happened. Was there a plot, a plan? Don't try to make me a part of your thing. I don't know. But I know what happened, and I know nobody's prepared for that. Not regular people. Now, president may be prepared. Certain government officials, high-level government officials may be prepared. They probably got a whole plan, a whole contingency set in place. But for us, there is no plan. Oh, yeah, unless you count just hoping shit don't happen to plan. That ain't a plan, man. How do you plan for it? I don't know. Anyway, hey, folks in Hawaii, folks in Japan, yo, I feel you. It's like some things you just can't get wrong. Right? All right. Woo! I tell y'all. Kevin Spacey, you know he lost the Game of Thrones. Not Game of Thrones, the other one, House of Cards. He lost the House of Cards show on Netflix. He was pulled out of a movie, replaced by Christopher Plummer. And then it was fallout about that because Marky Mark got paid more than Michelle Williams, I think her name is, for reshoots because of Kevin Spacey. So Kevin Spacey has been a whole big thing with Kevin Spacey because of the allegations. He was one of the original sexual misconduct guys on the chopping block. Well, it's a little bit more news about Kevin Spacey that I thought I'd share with you. Racist. Kevin Spacey accused of using the N-word on House of Cards set. So I guess now that he's off, and I think the show is discontinued, right? And all these, bad press he's received. Now I guess people are coming out with some tell-alls about Kevin Spacey. To add to the myriad of sexual assault allegations leveled against him, Kevin Spacey is now accused of being a racist on the set of Netflix, House of Cards. According to the head of the security firm that worked the set during the filming of season 1, Spacey used the N-word towards its employees. Earl Blue of VIP Protective Services said the embattled actor used this racial slur after making it clear he didn't want black security guards watching the show's trailer. I don't want N-words watching my trailer, Spacey allegedly said, according to the Daily Mail. Blue says that he reported the comments to set managers who responded. That's just the way he is. What you gonna do? This is just what he is. Look, man, I saw this. I said, wow, don't get me wrong. I care if Kevin Spacey used the N-word. I care a little. Little. I mean, it's like, oh, for real? I don't know if he did or not, but let's just say it's true. What do you expect rich, out of touch, old white people to do? I don't know. What do you expect them to do? Rich, out of touch, old white dude. More money than... Kevin Spacey been in the game. He's got a lot of money. I don't put anything past these Hollywood types. Oh, they supposed to be liberal. You know who attacks me? Liberals. That's who attacks me. I had a liberal call me a boy. I know I got 10 years on him. He called me a boy. His followers, they didn't say a word. They focused on me. Well, look what you did, Tim. I'm like, this guy just called me boy. No, nothing, huh? Said it twice. Now, he didn't say that in my face. He didn't say that in person. But he said it, and it's like, oh, so what, Tim Black? There you go with your identity politics. So, I'm not shocked at all that Kevin Spacey may have used the N-word on the set. Not at all. I'm shocked that you shocked. Come on, man. These people but think we live in this post-racial society when nobody says wrong things, mean things, or thinks stereotypes, or thinks in bigoted ways. It's ridiculous. I want policies that change that damn graph. That's what I want. I want policies that change the graph. Let's go back to the graph. This is what I want. I want policies that change that. Anyone, and I do mean anyone, who's focused on changing that, you got me. And you know what? I don't much care. I would prefer if the person or persons that help me change that graph, I would prefer they don't use that word, but if they do, and they change that graph, well, you know what? I think I can walk that off, because you know what? There are people who don't use that word, at least not publicly, and they ain't the least bit concerned with changing that damn graph. They are concerned with their own spot, right? That's what it is. They're concerned that the life stays the same for them and that they get promotions. And that's the real deal. That's the real deal. So call me crazy, but yeah, miss me with the outrage over this, over Kevin Spacey may have used the N-word. Because, hell, they treating us like N-words. You get what I'm saying? I know you do. And that's what I want to change. That graph. All right, guys. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to have a guest on my show, on the Tim Black at Night show, No Sellouts. His name is Bill Cimbrillo. He's running for Congress in Massachusetts, 9th District. He believes in education. He believes education must be a priority in Massachusetts. He's going to be with me to conversate, talk about it, and lay out his platform. So I would love for you to join us at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right on whatever platform you're on now. That's hopefully where we'll be streaming. If the streaming works, because you know it is the internet, and Facebook don't be loving a brother all that much, same thing for YouTube. I think that's all I got. You guys know where to reach me, right? Tim at TimBlackTV.com. Find me there. I will be continuing this week. As you know, today's show was not scheduled, but the fact that I didn't have a show yesterday, I came in to do the show today. And I will be back tomorrow and Friday with Black Word Today. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sending your emails. Thank you for staying, keeping your eyes open and letting me know about stories that are interesting to you, that you want covered. Remember to send those stories to Tim at TimBlackTV.com, and I will see you on the next one.
Look, man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
You know it. And let's change this graph together. See, no one has balls. No one has the balls to say the real deal.
Black Word Today.
Yes, y'all is the one and only. Get up.